Today I wanted to do a video on a new addition to an old friend. I'm Dustin and you're watching Guns of the West. Well, I didn't do the usual unboxing video today, but let's just take a look underneath this cover. The scope, by the way, came with this neoprene cover, and this is the Maven CRS.2 4-16 power by 44 millimeter objective lens hunting scope, and it is a fantastic scope from what I've found so far. So let's go ahead and take a look at its features. So here is the Maven CRS.2 4-16 by 44 rifle scope, and I am so happy with this thing. And I've got it mounted here on my Remington 700 BDL in 30-06, and this is the rifle I'm going to keep it on. But I will just say right off the bat, this is not the permanent setup. These rings are pretty high. They're just some rings I happen to have already that I could do a video with. But you can see I have some room that I can bring the scope down a little closer to the bore, so that's what I'll be doing. And this scope I found has to sit pretty far back for this particular rifle. You'll notice in between the rings I've got it pushed back as far as I can go to this one and still be able to read these numbers. We'll talk about those numbers here in a few moments. And the old rings I had on here were some loopholed permanently mounted rings. I had to remove those, and then I added this rail this week just so I could put this scope on. But I will be, again, getting some lower rings. Anyway, I've had a chance to take this out to the range now and get it zeroed in at 100 yards. I'll show you the target coming up a little later in the video. Of course, accuracy, a lot of that credit goes to the rifle, but the scope was so easy to adjust and holds it zero. After I got done with my little sight-in target, I put up a clean one and did some more shooting, and it just holds very, very well. Let's start back here at the back end. It's got an adjustable eyepiece so you can focus the reticle. And one thing that a video on YouTube cannot do justice on is the smoothness of how things turn. You really have to get your hands on one, but this is made in Japan, and if you didn't already know, some of the best scopes in existence come out of Japan, and this just is so nice. Same goes for the magnification ring. There it is on the lowest power, number 4. And as I turn that, there is no slop and no scratchy, gritty type feeling like so many scopes have, even a lot of good scopes. The scope I had on this before, and I won't name drop on it, but it was a fine scope, but as I turned this, I could always feel just a little bit of a scratchy, grindy feeling in it. But this is just, it's turning like butter. I just love this thing. And I'll show you the reticle here in a moment. The main tube is a 1-inch tube, but gets plenty of light. And then again, up here, you've got the 44 millimeter objective. Let's take a look at the turrets too. They are capped. So I'll pull the caps off. And I'm fine with them being capped. This is not a scope that I would really necessarily need to be dialing for each shot. It has some reference points on the reticle, as you'll see in a moment. And it's a hunting scope. It doesn't have a lot of markings on the reticle, but I can throw it up on a target real fast, whether that's a deer, an elk, etc., and just use those very, very quickly. But when I do need to make adjustments, like when I was zeroing it, I'll see if I can get my microphone close so you can hear, but those are great clicks. So they just feel crisp. And here, if I try to be quiet, I hope you can hear that. But they just feel great. You can even take these screws off so you can pull it off and set the zero to actual zero, which I've not done, but certainly could. Same is all true. Everything I just said for the elevation turret, same on the windage one. Very, very nice. And then over here, you've got the side focus for parallax adjustment. And one thing that's very important to me on scopes, if you're going to put yardage markings on there, they better be right. And I'm here to tell you they are. When I first got to the range, I started out at 25 yards just to make sure I was on paper and knew where to get started before I moved out to 100. So I set this to the number 25, and this is another thing that just turns like butter. And when I set that down to 25, it came into crystal clear focus at 25 yards. And when I moved it out to 100, same thing. I just bring the 100 around to that little arrow right there you see down there on the side. That's why I left some space there. And crystal clear picture at 100 yards. So they are marked perfectly. I just can't say enough good about this. I can't wait to get some rings and really get down where I want, and I'll just have to re-zero it a little bit. But let's take a look at the scope in action. I'll show you the last 3 shots that I fired.
Instead of holding like this, I want you to test the end on this. Yeah, it is. Okay. And you need to move that block.
Before firing those shots the other day at the range, I was a little worried because the eye relief is a little shorter than the scope I had before, so this is closer to my eye, and obviously 30-06 has a fair amount of recoil, but as you saw, there was no danger of it ever hitting me in the eyebrow or anything. Now, as promised, let's take a look at the reticle. You can see here the main crosshair, and then just below that, you've got a little hash mark, which is marked at 5 MOA, minutes of angle. The next one down is 10, and the one below that, just where the wire there, the vertical wire starts to thicken, that's 20. Now, it's a second focal plane scope. So if you decrease the magnification, you have to increase the value of those. So if I'm at full power, and that first hash mark is 5 MOA, if I cut the magnification down to 8 from 16, that's half. So now my 5 MOA is doubled to 10, and so on and so forth. And again, I hadn't mentioned that before, but this is a second focal plane scope, which some people like, some people don't. The downside is it does not magnify with the image as you change magnification. The upside is you can see all of it at any magnification, and it doesn't fade out at low magnification. And now let's just take a quick look at that target. Here it is, the target I was shooting. Again, the accuracy, it goes a lot to the rifle, and you can see bullet holes all over here as I was chasing it around at first. But when I finally got it zeroed in, I just fired a 3-shot group to finish off, and those are those 3 shots right there at the bullseye. And then once I get my permanent rings on there, then I'll take the time to really zero it in good. But this thing holds so well, and I just cannot say enough good things about this Maven scope. Well, as always, I really hope you enjoyed the video today, maybe even found the information helpful. Please don't forget to click the like button down below. That really helps the channel a lot. And subscribe to the channel so you can be here for more videos. And if you ring that bell icon, you'll even get notifications when they come out. Also, look in the description to see where to find me on social media and where to find great Guns of the West products. Thank you all so much, as always, for watching.